Hello and welcome to the final episode of What Do They Do? My name is Ali Tabib Najad. I'm one of the creators of the show and I'm filling in for Sean Smith. I had the great honor of speaking with Governor Roy Barnes about the highest office in the state. I asked him simply, what does a governor do?
Well, the governor is the executive head of the state of Georgia and has responsibility to see that all of the duties and responsibilities under the Constitution are carried out. He is the chief executive officer and has supervision to make sure that the laws are faithfully enforced, that the duties and responsibilities of the state are carried out, whether it's teaching schools or punishing those who have offended the law, or carrying out some policy decision of the General Assembly. So the governor in Georgia is a very strong position. Georgia's governor is generally considered to be one of the strongest in the nation. It has what's called line item veto on the budget. It can, instead of vetoing the entire budget, the governor can strike out an appropriation he deems inappropriate, which is a very powerful tool that the governor has. In Georgia, the governor is also the director of the budget, which means he sets the revenue estimate on what he anticipates the revenues of the state to be for the next year, and the General Assembly cannot appropriate above that amount. They can appropriate that amount or below, but they cannot go above that amount. He's also the commander-in-chief of the National Guard. When we have a natural disaster, or if troops need to be called up for use either in the United States or overseas, he's the commander of the National Guard and does all of that. So, the office of the governor is very broad. It has very broad powers. It's very important. It is the focal point for the state of Georgia, is the governor. The governor's office is the most important office in the state. And you should care about it because that person who is elected as governor is going to determine everything about you and your daily lives. What kind of schools your child will attend, what's the speed limit on your street, who is punished and who is not punished in the penal system, what kind of roads and transit is available to you. Everything you can think about has the influence of the governor. And if there is one position in the state that affects you more directly than any other office, it's that of the office of the governor.
I then asked Governor Barnes to describe a day in the life of a governor.
It's a hectic time. The governor resides in the governor's mansion that's on West Paces Ferry Road. Generally, my day started about 6 o'clock. At about 6 o'clock, they would send up to me from downstairs the daily newspapers. I'm sure everything's online now, but the daily newspapers and a pot of coffee. And I would, before I went downstairs, I would read the newspapers, read all of the mail and dispatches from the night before. Then I would go downstairs. I generally had a meeting at the governor's mansion, a breakfast meeting. And then if the General Assembly was in session, well, even when it wasn't in session, I'd go to the Capitol. If the General Assembly is in session, of course, it's dealing with all of that. If it's not in session, it's one meeting after another with department heads, constitutional officers, visitors that are coming to the state hoping to locate business there. Generally, there's 1 or 2 speeches a day that they take you there, and generally a dinner at night or some appearance. So it's a full-time, everyday job. And if there's some emergency in the state, even during the night, they will awaken you to tell you about it and to get instructions about it. There's a state patrol barracks on the site of the governor's mansion, and there are always troopers there that protect the governor and his family, and to make sure that things flow on a good concern in an orderly and efficient fashion.
To put the governor's office in context, I asked him how it fits within the scheme of all the other offices we have talked about in this show.
The governor, of course, has overall supervision on the budget of all of the constitutional officers, and certain of the constitutional, and to make sure that their duties are performed faithfully. The Attorney General acts as the legal advisor to the governor, and also acts to represent the state in all legal matters. So as you might imagine, the governor's in pretty constant contact with the Attorney General. And within the governor's office, there's an executive council, which is the personal governor, the official advisor, legal advisor to the governor in the governor's office. And so there's a daily contact with the Attorney General. With folks like the Agriculture Commissioner, the Insurance Commissioner, there's Labor Commissioner, there's less contact. However, there is regular contact to make sure that the General Assembly passed this law, it deals with insurance. Tell us what you're doing to implement it, to make sure that it's implemented correctly. Same thing with the Agriculture Commissioner or the Labor Commissioner or anything like that. So there's a coordination on that goes on. Things like the Department of Community Affairs or Department of Behavioral Health, those are controlled directly by the governor and his appointees. Highway Department, there's a board that elects the commissioner, but the governor has an integral part in that. About the only thing that governors do not interfere with is the State Board of Pardon and Parole.
And of course, I asked him if there was anything else he would like to add.
No, I just hope everyone will vote. And it is most important that we exercise our franchise. Politically, the state is a very close state, both on partisan-wise and some ideology-wise. And the way that we come together is one people, is to make sure that we have full voter participation.
That's it. That's our show. In closing, I would like to thank all of our guests who took time out of their busy schedules to teach us about different positions in the state of Georgia. And I would like to thank Sean Smith, without whose relationships this series would have never been possible. I would like to give a shout out to our Vice President, James Henderson, and for our Community Outreach Liaison, Jordan Tilden, for conducting some of the interviews. And I finally want to thank you for watching these series, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great content from Blackbush.